I got a problem. I think I might be a hoarder. Here's to a new beginning. As you can see from the title, this video is the beginning to the start of my budget build 2000 Honda Civic sedan. I've always been into Hondas for as long as I can remember. Almost 10 years ago, I sold my first project car. I sold that car to start a new chapter in life, to get married, to get a house, start a family. But since I sold that car, I've always been chasing the fix of building a car again. And I know car guys will understand what I mean by that fix. If you're into cars and you are passionate about building cars, and then being able to take that vehicle that you built by yourself or with your group of friends or with your best friend, there's something to being able to take that car out and show it off. And not necessarily like in a bragging way, but go to meets, go to Cars and Coffee, and just pull up and hang out with like-minded people. So when I say I was always chasing that fix, the day that my wife and I bought a house and then I was able to have some sort of workspace, I thought woodworking would be that thing that I could build, but it still never felt as good as building a car. After I realized that woodworking wasn't it, I thought maybe I'll build myself a CNC router and start doing signs, start making signs for people, which was really cool too. But that still wasn't it for me. Then my wife and I packed up from the city and moved a little bit out in the country where one of my best friends lives down the road. And we got into pit bikes for a while. I thought the pit bikes would bring it back because as a kid I used to ride dirt bikes. I started dabbling in customizing my cheap SSR pit bike. That was fun for a while. Then I started looking at the Honda, the CRF 80s and the CRF 100s, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool to build one of those into a more of a motocross race style bike? So I ended up selling a bunch of tools that had been sitting in my toolbox and I never touched. I traded all those tools and I got a 2006 CRF 100. Bone stock. An older gentleman had it for just chasing his grandkids in the yard because they raced motocross. So it was a little dirty, a little bit beat up, but it was the perfect bike for me because it was all off of tools that I hadn't touched in 10 years. So then I took my SSR and I traded that for another Chinese bike, and I'm drawing a blank on the name of it. And come to find out that bike was almost all Honda cloned parts for the CRF 100. It was like it was meant to be. It turned out super cool. I was so proud of it. And then it just got to the point where it sat in my garage more than I had time to go out and ride it and enjoy it. So then I ended up selling that. One day my wife, my son and I were out for a drive to go get dinner or something, and I looked at my wife and I said, wouldn't it be kind of nice to have a fun little summer car that we can cruise around in as a family, go get ice cream, go get dinner, go do small errands and stuff in the summer? And she didn't say no. So the next week, I found this 2000 Civic with a rod knock. It had a D16 in it, Y8, the VTEC head, rod knock. I picked this car up for $600. The passenger side doors were shot. They're rotted all the way across the bottom. But I thought to myself, I can find doors. Doors are easy. You can take off a door and throw a new door on. It does have some Honda cancer on both quarter panels. But I was able to find quarter panel replacement patches on eBay. They make these panels for almost all the old Hondas now, which is pretty cool. I found some doors. I found some more doors. Somehow I have 6 extra doors now. These doors are actually getting a little bit harder to find clean. It seems that these passenger side doors on these 96 to 2000 Civics, they're kind of prone to rust. And up here in Wisconsin, everything rusts. So now I got doors for it. I was searching around thinking, what am I going to do for an engine? I first thought that maybe I could fix that D series. I thought, it's pretty common for those D16 Y8s to spin bearings. I thought maybe I could get lucky, slap some bearings in there, and it'd be fine. I bought parts, Rock Auto for, I don't know, I think I spent $20 or $50 on parts. I thought, well, it's worth a shot, right? I left the engine in the car. I dropped the oil pan. I found the connecting rod that had the bad bearing. I popped off that connecting rod cap, and I could see there was some wear on that crankshaft, but it really wasn't, you couldn't really feel it with your fingernail. So I was like, well, I'll just chuck the bearings in it, throw the cap back on, see what happens. I did that, and that thing was still slopping around. So I was like, all right, time to rip out this D series. Mind you, this car is an automatic. I got all the parts to make it a manual now. So I was gonna get rid of the transmission anyways. So it really wasn't a loss. I kind of assumed the engine was gonna be junk, or I was gonna do a swap at some point anyways. The real reason I bought this car was to just get something into my garage. I knew as long as I had something in my garage, I could tinker at my pace. With a 2-year-old, you don't always have the most time. So I thought, well, if I can get a car into my garage, I can at least tinker when I have a couple of minutes here and there. When my son goes to bed, I can come out here for an hour or two and work on it. This whole time I wanted this build to be like a legit budget build. Junkyard parts and cheap finds I find on Marketplace. So I was toying with a whole bunch of different options. Do I buy another D16 and build that, because you can get Chinese parts that guys are making 500 horsepower out of a D series, and it's pretty cheap to do. So I looked around for D series, never really found anything. The guy I got this from, he had this thing all taped up, all the ports were taped up, as if made me feel like he truly was saving this for another build. It's got ARP head studs in it. So he had told me he was going to turbo it, but never got around to it. So that might be a plan of mine later. We'll see. Again, budget build. So let's get this engine and trans in the car, make sure it's good. After that, I'll probably drive it this spring, summer, and then I'm gonna start working on the body. So I'm gonna clean up these doors, put new quarter panels in it, I'll pound out any dents. But after I get all that body straightened and rust cleared out, I am gonna paint this car. From here on out, I'll start creating some videos of the build process. I do have a video started of swapping an intake manifold that didn't work out because it's built but wrong. So I, of course, bought some parts in the dark, and you'll find out that I need to research more. So, and the whole reason that I'm doing this build series is that I want to show people that even if you can't afford like the super cool wheels that everybody has, you know, the work wheels or the raised wheels and all the fancy parts, you can still build a car on a budget and have fun doing it, learn while you're doing it, and also build it into something that you enjoy to drive. Yeah, the expensive parts are super cool, but something about building it on a budget and just building it to be nice. You know, I don't plan on taking this to any like big shows where I, you know, win some crazy awards or anything. I'm just building this to have fun. And I'm gonna build it wrong probably. I mean, like I said, you'll see the video about the intake manifold. I bought the wrong parts. So there's gonna be a lot of that. There's gonna be a lot of building it, but I messed it up, and I'm gonna show that. I don't think there's any reason why you should delete it out. That shows the real side of building a car. It's not always right. You're gonna do some stuff that it's gonna be wrong. This is the beginning. I hope you guys like and subscribe and share it if you want to. I know nobody's watching right now, but who knows what this will turn into.